Falar um pouquinho sobre o currículo do nosso próximo palestrante. Ele é Head of Latin America, da Planisware. Is the leading global provider of world-class enterprise project and portfolio management, PPM, solutions for companies managing new product development, NPD, information technology and project controls and engineering. Planisware, acclaimed configurability, accommodates the company global customers across a variety of industries, including energy, aerospace and defense, automotive, CPG, and high-tech, and empowers users to align the solutions with key business program and portfolio management process. With more than 100 customers worldwide and 99 customers retention rate, Planisware has been recognized an industry leader by several esteemed analysts and has obtained multiple certification awards. Mr. Scully is a senior director within the new products development business segment and head of Latin America, spearheading Planisware expansions to Latin America. Mr. Scully has a bachelor's degree in social science from Kenny State College, a Master of Business Administration and Innovation Technology Management from the University of Maryland, University College, a certificate of Spanish fluency from the Pontificia Universidad Católica del Ecuador, accelerated management from the Yale School of Business and Sales Growth Certificate from Cornell. Senhoras e senhores, para a sua palestra aqui no nosso Congresso Internacional Six Sigma Brasil, ladeado da minha caríssima Nides Lima, nossa diretora comercial da Six Sigma Brasil, eu peço que subam ao palco Jeremy Scully e Nides Lima, por gentileza. Nides, está aqui, ó.
Obrigada, Sérgio.
Boa palestra.
Muito obrigada.
Can you hear me, everybody? Yeah? Hi.
Dá para ouvir? Está todo mundo ouvindo ele? Say again.
Check again?
Ah,
Yeah.
todo mundo ouvindo, certo? Ok, muito obrigada. Thank you for calling me.
Thank you.
And I have a question for you so we can start our conversation here.
Okay.
So I was thinking about who is really Planisware? And the other question is, why Brazil?
Why Brazil? Sure.
Yeah.
Sorry. Before I answer that, thank you everybody for the opportunity to come here. It's my first time in Brazil. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Really love the country. It's such a beautiful country. And given that I have a lot of opportunity to practice my Portuguese, I figured I'd give you the opportunity to practice your English. So, why Planisware, or who is Planisware? We have been focused on PPM for the entirety of our 25, 30 years in business, and we have a number, almost 1,000 global customers at this point. So really, we're the best. But again, I'm very biased. But honestly, Planisware has been contributing to organizations and helping companies build new products and get these products to market. Everything from the COVID vaccine, that Pfizer used our software to reprioritize their resources, cars, trucks, motorcycles, alcoholic beverages, non-alcoholic beverages, food, but even things that we don't see. I just met some people from Syngenta, so we've been working with Syngenta for a number of years, helping them to improve crop science to better prepare for better grow food. We're a global organization. Our founders are from Paris, and in the 90s, they were tasked with coming up with a way to marry resources and schedules together. So I'm not old enough to remember the 90s from a professional standpoint, but I'm told that type of solution didn't exist then. So they built this software code, and they thought it was really cool. This is something really special. And they talked to their organization, they purchased the code, they made Planisware. Fast forward, we have offices all around the world. We also have our own data centers. So we own our own data centers, we own our clouds, and just working to provide the best customer experience for our customers globally. Now, the second part of your question, why Brazil? Over the last couple of years, we've been, I want to make sure that it goes to the next one. Come on.
Are you in the right one?
Yeah. Over the last couple of years, we've been, oh, sorry, it's not switching. Yeah. Oh, no, way too far. Go back. Go back. So I can say that Dell is not a customer of Planisware.
That was not.
You going almost?
Mais.
Yep. Got we got him. So why Brazil? Over the last couple of years, we've been talking as an organization of where else can we go to expand? Where else can we go and help organizations? And the end of last year, beginning of this year, the conversation was mostly focused around European countries. Should we expand to Spain? Should we expand to Italy? And I spoke up and I said, hey, if you're even talking about Spain and Italy, we have to be talking about Brazil, Mexico, and Colombia. They're on the same level as Italy and Spain. GDP, all the other indices that are really important, like technology readiness, competitiveness, ease of doing business, all these different indices. So we were able to win that argument and start officially trying to expand to Latin America. And the way that we've chosen to do that is to work through partners, and that's why we've partnered with 4Results, who's here today. Colombia, we're partnering with Sistemas Expertos, and Mexico, we're selling to directly. The other reason Brazil is our customers. We very quickly realized that almost all of our global customers have operations here in Brazil, and more importantly, have users here in Brazil. So then it became a question of how are we going to try and support our users in Brazil, in Portuguese, with local partners, so that our users here have the best experience as well. So that's one of the reasons why we partnered with 4Results, who's here today. And as we started talking about partners, I was talking with a number of people that have worked very successfully over the years bringing technology to Brazil, into Latin America. So people from Microsoft, SAP, Oracle, Salesforce. And the majority of them, if not all of them, kept mentioning 4Results. And the very first time that I had a conversation with Christiane and her team, it was very clear as to why. They're very smart, they're very motivated, they're very passionate, and they have the skills and the knowledge about the market already. They have a very complementary solution, but they don't have PPM, so the two work very well together. So I invite everybody to come to the booth and meet the team when you have a chance. So this is from my perspective, who Planisware is.
Right.
There's a lot of analysts that also talk about Planisware. There we go. And the market. The best known are Forrester and Gartner. Forrester looks at things more from a strategic planning point of view. Gartner looks at it more from an IT PPM point of view. But there's others. There's IDC, who looks at it from Agile, and then there's Infotech, which is really interesting because they look at it as if you're going, every organization has projects, right? Whether they're engineering, construction, IT, NPD, marketing, doesn't matter. They're all projects. So you should be able to have one solution that can manage all the different types of projects, which is really fits well with Planisware and our single code base and our single model that really is adaptable to any type. And then the last part that I'll throw in there is our user community. We have more than 1,000 customers at this point, and we have these user summits all over the world throughout the year. Last May, we had in Denver, we had a number of people, including some people from 4Results come, and they share best practices. They're peers. They're just like you guys here in the crowd today. They share best practices, and it's really interesting to see Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, who are both making a vaccine, talk about how the best way that they manage resources or forecast resources or manage projects. It's really good to see competitors sharing things with each other.
Can I have another question?
Okay.
Okay. What is the difference between project management and strategic portfolio management? It is best to start with strategic planning, portfolio management, or project execution first?
So the short answer is yes. Either one.
Either one.
Either one. We have customers that have started on the execution side of things, helping to manage their projects, their programs, and then move towards the strategic planning and the portfolio side of things.
Whoops.
Okay, so this is not working. Need to go back a number of slides, but it really doesn't matter. You can start either way. For me, it makes the most amount of sense to start on the strategic side of things. But either way, the real question is, how do you close the gap? There's almost always a gap between the strategy and the execution, right? On the strategy side, you're always asking, are we doing the right projects, right? And then on the portfolio side, people are always asking, are we doing the projects right? Are we finishing on time, on budget?
There.
Baja dos.
Mais
Pasa dos más. Ahí.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, está bien. So it's really about how do you close that gap between the strategy and the execution. Now, if we explain it from the strategic side of things, it always reminds me of the Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy asked the cat. It says, "There's two paths." He says, "Which way should I go?" And the cat says, "Well, where do you want to go?" She says, "I don't know." Well, then it doesn't matter.
Right.
And it's the same with project management and strategic planning. If you don't have a strategy, if you don't know where you're trying to go as an organization, the projects you choose are irrelevant because it's not helping you get anywhere or in any certain direction. So from a strategic side of things, there's certain things that you really need to have in place. Okay? This gap exists because everybody works in teams, right? You have R&D, you have the executives, you have project managers, you have finance, you have all these different teams, and each team has their own set of data.
Right.
That data is very important to them so that they can do their job and they can make decisions. But from a perspective, possibly from the executive, that person needs information from R&D, from marketing, from strategic planning. Otherwise, they're making decisions on incomplete data, right? So these silos exist, and you're going to need to find a way to break the silos down. That's where you're able to get the gap to come together. So the way that we do this is, you start with defining your strategy, right? Where are you going as an organization? What are your goals for the organization, and how are you going to measure it? The next thing is generating ideas to fit that strategy. You should do this probably in idea campaigns, right, that are aligned to it, because if we're trying to build an electric car and someone says, oh, well, how about a new roof, it might not be useful at this point, right? So you really want to have those ideas towards your specific strategy. Next, you want to be able to score the ideas, right, and prioritize the ideas. Now, you get to a question here that is, do we have enough in the portfolio to deliver our strategic goals? If the answer is no, you shouldn't be funding projects and working on those projects, right? It's not really going to help you. So you have to do something different. You generate more ideas. Or maybe even change your strategy. So you work through this scenario, you work through this process to get to a point where you say, yes, I am sure that with this set of projects we can meet our strategic goals. Yes. Now the next part is to look at from a resource perspective. Do we have enough resources to deliver the portfolio? If you don't fund those projects because they're going to be late. They're not going to be high quality, right?
Exactly.
If the answer is no, you have to do something different. And that's where most people will say take things out of the portfolio. But if you take things out of the portfolio, then you're not going to meet your strategic goals. So working through this scenario helps you come to an answer, a very clear answer of, we have a strategy, we have the goals, we have a way to measure it, we have a group of projects that will deliver that strategy, and we have the resources. Now, how do we do those projects? And that's where you get to optimizing the portfolio and selecting the portfolio that you're going to work on, and then you execute. Okay? So some of the key capabilities that you want are being able to visualize how you're creating your strategies and the strategic goals, how you're communicating that with roadmaps. Roadmaps are really an excellent communication tool. It helps you to very easily visualize what's the strategy and where they're going. Define idea campaigns towards a specific strategic theme. Generate ideas and capture the idea, build out the business case for it, the costs, the risks, be able to score the ideas, and then be able to track the overall progress of the ideas and where things are going. From there, you want to make sure that you're aligned to your strategy. So if you're saying that you're going to spend 30% of your budget on innovation, and then what you're funding, you only have 15%, there's something misaligned. So how do you realign it to make sure that it's right? And then from there, you want to be able to create different scenarios, compare the scenarios, and select the right scenario for you. And then from there, it's maintaining things, it's communicating, it's prioritizing, and making sure that you have the right amount of resources and that they're sequenced correctly. And then from there, you optimize. The last piece that's really important, especially now, and I like the time travel from the last presentation.
Yes.
Artificial intelligence. AI is something that is just absolutely taking off. AI is very powerful because we have all big data, right? We have all this big data, but how do we use it correctly, right? In Planisware, we have some capabilities that will help you look at your previous projects, all the historical data you have on your previous projects, and help you to improve your forecasting of your future projects. Because if you're used to doing a certain type of project and you know that it takes you 5 years and $100 million, and then somebody's proposing a new project, and that new project all of a sudden is going to be 10 years and $400 million, like, whoa.
It can take forever.
It can catch those errors and assumptions. So Planisware, their AI capability, we have predictive analytics and predictive parametric estimation. So it will help you really catch those errors and assumptions, as well as help you better forecast and visualize and be more efficient with how you do things. So these are the main things here that will help you close that gap and at least start getting data from the strategic side and getting the communication from the strategic side to the execution side.
Okay. Can I have another question?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that covers all the strategic planning and strategic portfolio management side, correct?
Yep.
And how do we get the data from the execution side flowing to the strategic side? How do we do that?
Yeah. This is a little bit more in depth and a little bit more technical. So we talked about what's on top, right? The strategic planning. The three main pieces that you need now for execution is being able to manage your resources effectively and make sure that you have the right resources assigned to the right projects at the right time. Manage the projects, the schedules, the cost, the deliverables, the risks, and then have a really sound picture of the portfolio from an operational perspective.
Right.
So those are the three high-level capabilities. And if we dive into resource management, so from a broad brush perspective, this kind of fills out the main capabilities that you need in order to answer both questions. And we're going to focus a little bit more on the right side of things. From a resource standpoint, you have to have the capability to be able to develop long-term planning of what resources you have, what resources you need. And most organizations that we work with do it in a time frame of like 2 to 5 years. What's the long-term plan? Where are we going? What do we need for resources? From there, it's more of a cycle plan, more on an annual basis. It helps with hiring as well. And then you get down to more the operational side where you're actually looking at your capacity for right now. Right? What do we have the capacity to do this year or this quarter or next quarter and be able to forecast that way? Ultimately, you'll get down to named resources where a project manager, right, you're making a resource request for this project, I need 5 engineers. And a resource manager will say, okay, I can give you 3, or I can give you all 5. Right. And you get down to the named resource, and then ultimately you want to be able to track time. And tracking time closes the loop so that you're better, that you have more data and that you get better at forecasting and requesting resources. From a project management standpoint, there's kind of 2 different categories here. There's a category of what's general for an overall PPM solution, right? You want to have the ability to, first you want to have everything all in one package if you can. That way all the data is really connected. From there, having a mobile capability is tremendous. Being able to do what-ifs on the schedule, the costs, the risks, being able to manage deliverables and create presentations. A lot of time is spent creating presentations for meetings, and if you have a presentation template or a model built into your PPM solution, it can save a tremendous amount of time. From a stage gate-centric perspective, you want to have the ability to run meetings, capture lessons learned, capture outcomes, capture the notes, have the ability to have multiple stage gate models. Not every project is the same. Not every project needs 7 gates. Some may only need 3. And the ability to change those stage gate models on the fly when assumptions and things change. And then lastly, just being able to, like I said, manage your deliverables as well as collaborate with others. From a portfolio perspective, you really want to be able to communicate how are we tracking? Are things on time? Are things on budget? What do we, sorry, go back one. Are things on time? How are we on risks? What are the main risks that we need to focus on? What are the overall costs? Are we on budget? Are we over budget? You want to be able to communicate those things back to the executives and back to the portfolio and to the strategic side. And again, simple screenshots. Having a single place where you go, where you have your running to-do list of what you need to do for work. Being able to, as I said, very clearly see what the resource forecast is for your project, see where you might have bottlenecks and where you're over allocated, what the overall capacity is, as well as actually getting down to the name level and allocating resources. From there, you want to have a place where you can see all of your projects. And more importantly, be able to edit things for multiple projects in one screen. Nobody wants to open 5 projects to change the same thing on 5 different projects. We can be much more efficient than that. Executive summaries, so the executives know where you are. You want to be able to have schedules and Gantt charts that are flexible. You want to have stage gates so you can see where the deliverables are, who's running late on the deliverable, risks, agile. I heard a little bit about agile earlier, and I'm interested in reading Clovis's book if I can learn Portuguese. But agile is more important these days. So being able to combine your waterfall projects with your agile projects is hugely important. One of our customers, Sonos, makes speakers. They do that. They have the hardware projects as well as all the software projects all in one single platform. You want to have burn down charts and cost charts and variance and P&Ls. Lots of different things. All of these capabilities, once you have them, the processes in place, helps you to close the bridge and break down the silos. and bring everybody together on one single platform so they start communicating a little bit better. And then that allows the data to really flow back and forth from the strategic side as well back to the operational side.
Like getting out of the silos, right?
Yeah,
Going
getting out of the
directly.
silos and exchanging and sharing data.
Wow. Next question.
Yeah.
What are the benefits of implementing a single solution to manage the entire process?
The
And
benefits.
do you have some examples from your customers here in Brazil already?
I do. And I'm looking forward to talking to Syngenta more. But yes, so let's start with probably everybody's favorite products. Product that everybody can,
Yeah, this is
can
good.
enjoy.
This is good.
My favorite is Knob Creek. It's a very, very good whiskey. So Beam Suntory, they came to us probably about 7 or 8 years ago. And they had a very specific issue that they were trying to overcome, which was as they were progressing through the project lifecycle, they would realize that one of the deliverables needed to be updated or needed to be fixed, right? And that would stop everything.
Okay.
Now, a number of times, it was the artwork for the bottle. They don't change the whiskey. The whiskey's the whiskey.
It's
right?
always the
It's
whiskey.
always the packaging. So if the artwork is green and it's supposed to be blue, they couldn't progress with everything else while they fix the artwork, which
Right.
seems like a really silly issue to have. Should be able to continue with everything else and put the label on afterwards.
Right.
But they didn't have the right workflow or the right ability to track those deliverables and manage the sign-off on the deliverables. So when they implemented Planisware, they were able to overcome that challenge as well as a bunch of others that they didn't even realize that they had. And as you can see here, as Eric said, they were able to do 18% more with the same amount of resources. So it's a really good use case here. Some key areas that we see are being able to reduce your cost by 10%. Your overall project cost, let's just cut it in half or cut it down 10%, and you can use that money to reinvest, do more projects or hire more people. You can cut low value projects as well. That's a huge savings. I had one company that the first time that they did a portfolio review, they realized that half of the projects that they were working on had no value. So cutting those and reallocating all of those funds and resources to higher value projects really just accelerated their business for them. But the really big key one here is 25% reduction in administrative time. No more chasing Excel spreadsheets. No more creating reports or presentations. It's no more spending, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks every quarter getting ready for the quarterly review. Have something that has a presentation module built into it. Every screen is a report. It can be turned into a slide with a click of a button, and it's always there for you. And you can use that time for things that are much more of value, or going home and spending more time with your family, because who doesn't want that?
I guess I have to wish you lots of luck and lots
Thank
of
you.
customers around, so you can be here with us
Yes.
more in Brazil, right? I guess
Thank you.
that's what.
Thank you very much.
I really
Much
wish for you.
appreciated. Yeah.
No, anything else?